Hey, everybody, thanks for tuning in on this week's episode of BMS Bitcoin Made Simple, which I hope I do that. I don't probably, I probably make it more difficult. I probably sound like an idiot. Um, but yeah, anyways, it's the name of the show. So the name of the show does not reflect what I do because it's impossible to make Bitcoin simple. Anyways, but yeah, I'm just gonna go through some stuff. I got things to catch you guys up on and what's going on in my thoughts on the Bitcoin world, things going on at Movies Plus, and mining and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. So first of all, I want to thank the Bitbox O2 hardware wallet from Shift Crypto for sponsoring the show. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/ Bitcoin Made Simple and use the promo code Bitcoin Made Simple, all one word, to get 5% off of your order. And you should probably get a hardware wallet because it's getting a little more difficult. I guarantee you in the next couple of years, Coinbase is going to make it really difficult to remove your coins. Oh, wait. I had a listener, Bitcoin Pup, reached out. So, yeah, it's your coins. Get your coins off the exchange, not your keys. I think I have that correctly. Because you're it's your coins you're securing. And I kept saying that, and they reached out and said, I don't know if Bitcoin Pup is either he or she. I don't know because that's the funny thing about Bitcoin Twitter is that you interact with all these people and like some of them you know who they actually are, and then some of them you're like I have no idea, and that's really funny. Because like you can walk past them on the street and have no clue, and I'm kind of jealous of those that can do that, because uh, it would be nice to be like more anonymous, which actually is what I changed my Twitter profile picture. Um and I like care so little about these things. So I didn't even think about it till afterwards. So if it's super cringe, let me know. um but I was like I hated the fact that like my face was out there. You know what I mean? Like I don't know, it was just privacy, whatever. I mean, I guess if people really want to know what I look like or whatever, they could find me on my like YouTube videos, whatever, for the podcast. But just in general, I don't know, kind of uncomfortable with that kind of stuff in this world where they're trying to track our every single move, and I want to be less trackable, if that makes sense. Um, so anyways, I kind of wanted to change that, and and then like, but I don't know, I was like, should I get like a professional headshot done for my business? Um, but like I don't really care about that. Um, so I'm not trying to be like, like have like my signature thing, like where Jack Mallers has his, hoodie and whatnot. I just don't care. Like I wear socks and Crocs like in public. Like that's how I am as a person. My wife has accepted me for that. Um, so I don't know. I'm just not into that sort of thing. And like all the pictures of like, oh, I should update my picture. But every picture of me, there's like no individual pictures of me. Like I've never been like, hey, take a picture of me because I don't care. And I'm sure a lot of you, especially the anons out there, like can totally relate. Um, where we're just like, this isn't of interest to me. I want to be out of the light, the light of lime as much as possible. Um, that's limelight. If people don't follow my stupid brain and the way I come up with things, but yeah. So, anyways, I changed my picture to one from me playing hockey at the University of Pittsburgh back when I was in college and was a hockey player. Um, so I changed it to that because I jokingly said I was like I identify as a hockey player, which is fun. It's kind of like a joke, but is if you know what I mean. If you're picking up what I'm putting down. But I also like I do legitimately realized I realized I identify as a hockey player. Like I'll tell people, I'll be like, yeah, I'm a hockey player. Mind you, I have not played competitive. I mean, adult league, I don't consider competitive, like competing for a national championship is what I consider competitive. So I haven't played competitive hockey like like I said, national championship. I mean, that sounds really arrogant. Like a state championship or even like an in-house league championship. Like if you're growing up, whatever it is, like that's where like whatever your highest level of competition you could be at the moment. I haven't played that since college because I didn't make it to the pros. Um, and yeah, I that has been 13, almost 14 years. Um, so but I still identify as a hockey player. Like I'll tell people, like it will casually come out. Like if I'm talking about sports, I'll tell people, like, yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm a hockey player. Like I was like, wait a minute, I'm not technically. Like I guess once an all hockey player, always a hockey player. I don't know. Anyways, so so I was like, oh, I identify as a hockey player. But the main reason that I changed it was because now my face mask on my helmet covers my face. Um, so it's like, all right, perfect. It's a picture of me, but you can't tell what I look like, really. I mean, if you want to be a creep and go ahead and Google me, then go ahead and be a creep. But it's just there are certain places that I can't scrub pictures from, like stupid IMDb and other places. I don't know, it's just impossible. So I'd love to get them down, but I can't. And you know, I'm sure I could figure a way to do it, but I just can't. So or I don't know how. But anyways, Twitter was the one place I could do it. Because it's the only place I exist in the social media world anymore. So yeah. So anyways, um that is a long story to get to explain that BTC Pup. And if you don't know BTC Pup, you should follow him slash her, uh, and and you'll see them on Twitter. They're a great follow, a good Bitcoiner, solid Bitcoiner. But he slash her had reached out to me and and said, just a pet peeve, but it's not your keys you're securing. You're getting your coins off the exchange. And I appreciate that. And so BTC Pup, do not feel like you are bothering me with that because stuff like that bothers me like crazy, which makes me a real joy to sit with during things like sporting events, and things of that nature where live commentary is happening and they maybe say something backwards or incorrectly remember a statistic. Uh, like, and so I say, like, I remember everything. But my wife will say I don't remember like what she told me to do when she left the house before she got back. That might slip my mind. Um, but like I do have a pretty ironclad memory of especially long term things. So I don't know. It's like I get to this, as you guys can relate, with the level of autism required to be in Bitcoin. I get to this like autistic level of remembering things, and it drives me nuts. Because just in general in life, sometimes people will be like, "Oh, like this happened." I'm like, no, it didn't. They'll be like, "No, it didn't." I'm like I didn't. Like it just depends on the thing. If it's not worth fighting over, then I really have to like just eat it and be like, all right, like I'm just gonna let you think what you think. Um, but it is funny, like whenever like it's a thing that's it being hashed out, and I'm like, I tell people, I'm like, you don't understand. Like I know for a fact that this is what happened. Um, and my wife knows, she'll like sit there like he doesn't, forget things like that. Um, so I gotta work on the short term memory, I guess. Um, that's the thing I gotta really work on. But Jesus, how did I get on remembering? Oh, because you end up getting annoyed by things because they'll misremember something, and it's like it could be like over like the stupidest thing. How does the announcer not remember that Neil O'Donnell was the quarterback for the Steelers that did that, and it wasn't Cordell Stewart, like something like that. And it's just like okay, dude, like that hat, like all right, like it happened in the 90s, like move on with your life. But like apparently I can't, so hey, such is life. Um And so yeah, get yourself a Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. I guess we can count that all as an ad read. I should tell them that that was like a 1,000 word ad read. Um, and then please check out Movies Plus because we are crushing it. We're bringing new content. Here's something I tell you guys all the time. We have our Bitcoin content, but there's also Farmageddon. You're gonna want to check out Farmageddon because it's about food insecurity and what's going on with farmlands, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you're gonna want to get a annual subscription. You can get an annual subscription. Use the promo code Cory, and you'll get 20% off. So that will knock the price down, and it'll cost you $2 a month. $2 a month of Movies Plus, and you get for 12 months you get ad-free content. So there are certain, I'll just give you behind the scenes on how it works with different streaming platforms, but there are certain titles that like they kind of get shared out, like they become like a general availability across multiple platforms. So it's like you could find it on Tubi, you could find it on YouTube with ads, different places where you're going to get interrupted. A lot of those things we are also picking up for Movies Plus as an added value to our customers, because that way it's something that's commercial free. So if you're, signing up for us for other purposes, but commercial free, you're getting commercial free content, and you don't have to sit through all those ads pitching you all those shit coins known as products that are trying to waste your money. So anyways, yeah, go to mymoviesplus.com, use promo code Cory. And also I appreciate it because it helps us get Phil Gibson off of Fiat. So the more people that sign up, the more likely I am to be able to hire Phil full time to do this, because he's basically working with me now full time, but I can't pay him like a full time employee yet. But Phil is down for the cause, as he tells me, and he is crushing it, and have been a huge help. So help him out, and look at it as a vote for free speech. You are helping invest in preserving free speech. So with that being said, also shout out to Upstream Data for the black box where you can quietly mine Bitcoin at home, wherever you need to, in the weather, whatever it is. Go to upstreamdata.ca and check out all the products they have, which include hash huts and mining equipment and black boxes. So, anyways, that was pretty. I kind of covered some things. I mean, I don't know how I just ramble. But Bitcoin wise, I've been looking at, like I've told you guys, I'm looking at doing interviews, but I don't want to do interviews just for the sake of doing interviews. Because it's like I don't want you guys to just tune in and hear the same thing about Bitcoin over and over and over again. And especially like because there's other like really good Bitcoin podcasts out there. So like for example, if like Daniel Prince gets somebody on, I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily want to interview that same person, like unless I have a different angle to take with them than he does. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think I kind of caught myself. I was like, wait a minute. I look back on the past. I'm like rehashing interviews that like these, the plebs have heard elsewhere. So like I try to make sure it's fresh. Um, but one that I might do here is Comeback Country, with I think his Twitter handle Shooter Mike. Mike is the one that created the Comeback Country. It's an 11-minute documentary about El Salvador, and there's Bitcoin mixed into that. But Naib Bukele actually shared it out on social media. So I might have him on for an interview because we're working on getting his content on Movies Plus, um, and really just spreading the word because it's a really good documentary. So by the time you hear this, probably will be on Movies Plus. So just go and check it out, even if you don't have an account. Tisk tisk. If you don't pay for an account, it is available. It will be available for free on Movies Plus. But yeah, if you go check it out, um, it is a good history of like what happened in a lot of stuff. I mean, let's be honest, most of us don't know what the history of El Salvador is. So, it gets into like the Civil War and the brutality of what was going on and stuff like that. So, it's a really good documentary. He and I talked about, I mean, we'll schedule it and do an interview. Um, and then I might like branch out on a few, like for example, like Sam Tripoli, the comedian. He's a friend of the platform. And he's I guess an acquaintance slash buddy. Um, and buddy of buddies and buddy of business partners. And he does an investing podcast and he's into Bitcoin. He also gets, onto like the different cryptos and whatnot. Um, so like it's just one of those things where I'm not gonna I would be interested to have people on and and talk about their other parts of their life because like comedy, like being a comedian, there's a lot of things that people don't know about, like what it's like on the road. I mean, literally how much of your life is spent on the road. How you formulate an hour of comedy is very interesting. How much work goes into it. um and how you're always doing new content. Yeah, yeah, yada yada yada. But yeah, so to have people on like that and then just like ask them about the Bitcoin stuff. So like, I won't ever steer into talking about shitcoins. If somebody's into shitcoins, that's their own problem. but I'll, curious to get their take on Bitcoin. Because then it sometimes helps too if you get like an outsider's perspective where you go like, oh, like I didn't think of it that way. Like why would some people struggle with adopting Bitcoin? Why do some people hesitate with it? And we know a lot of the main reasons, but like, unless we're talking to people, we don't know. Um, so yeah, so I don't know. I thought maybe that would be an interesting angle because the other thing is too, there's like a lot of people that I want to interview, um, that aren't necessarily Bitcoin people, and I was like, oh well, what do I do? Start like a movies podcast? What do I start like a comedy podcast? Like interviewing comedians, interviewing. And it's like, well, why would I create like a million podcasts, um, to interview all the people I want to interview? Um, and whenever I could just do it and then maybe have like a Bitcoin hint to it. So like maybe I could, I don't know. You guys DM me, let me know what you think, or email the show Bitcoin Made Simple podcast at gmail.com. But like if you what you think of the idea. Just generally, the idea I have right now is like I'll still do Bitcoin interviews, like very Bitcoin specific interviews, um, to talk about Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff. But um, I might try and book some interviews with people with like interesting, like in different walks of life that aren't necessarily like aren't Bitcoiners. So like they might be into it, but even people that aren't into it all at all. And I thought it would be interesting if I interview them and bring Bitcoin into the conversation. Um, if that makes sense. So like I interview them and like let them know ahead of time because like I was gonna say, before I ADD'd my way through this, um, is that like I'll reach out to some of them and they're like, oh, I don't know anything about Bitcoin, and it's like I'm like, well, like I don't want to just talk about Bitcoin. I'm curious about your other things. So thought maybe like if I do interviews about like all the other stuff that they're doing, it would be interesting. And then kind of like the only Bitcoin angle with people that have no Bitcoin experience at all would be to like for me to say like, so what do you know about Bitcoin? And like don't be don't be afraid to like sound like you don't know anything because most of us don't, and that's how we all started. To like put it out there like that, just to see, if there's somebody that's not in it at all, it'd be really intriguing to see, like, oh, well, it's this and that and blah blah blah, and then maybe it's like a good way for me to like on an individual basis, like shoot some FUD down the best I can, um, and at least get the gears turning, and then offer you guys something a little different to listen to. So hit me up. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. But yeah, and then I might do like I might just start. I mean, we have so many movies on Movies Plus. And I'm like, I could just start interviewing these filmmakers about their movies and then do the same thing. Where I could just talk to them about the movie and then tell you guys like, hey, you can check it out on Movies Plus because obviously you listen to me, you subscribe to the show, so that you probably subscribe to Movies Plus. Um, so you should, go check this movie out. Here's the filmmaker, and you know, and then I can, talk to them about Bitcoin too. Just even if it's just 5 minutes where they're like, I don't know much about it and I think it's stupid or whatever. At least I can, fire back with them on that. So, anyways, yeah, because at one point I thought about creating like something called Creators Corner, and we still might do that. I don't know. Maybe make it more of like a show that goes on Movies Plus, kind of like a Talking Dead, or like those recap shows after TV shows. So just something I'm kicking around. Um, but anyways, Bitcoin is just a little crazy right now. Let's check out the price. The price at the moment. Do, 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 do. The easiest way to look up the price is the Fold app. Fold is not a sponsor, FYI. The price is $20,008.79. So here we are. We're still just hanging around, hanging around, and not really going anywhere. What the hell? Now, I will say it is pretty impressive that Bitcoin has held on like this, um, because it's a massacre out there. It's an absolute nightmare across the board. Everything is getting hammered. So, I think it's pretty impressive that Bitcoin hasn't dipped further. I think it's going to take a little bit to break out, but there's just global macro economic global implications of things that are happening, and it's just the world's a mess right now. So it's not going up in price because people aren't understanding the value. I think there's significant things at play here, geopolitical things at play that are affecting everything. Excuse me, I have to take a drink of coffee. I Side note, didn't have my coffee yet because I had to run out this morning and get a lawnmower battery because my tractor died while I was doing it last night. But anyways, so that's why I'm not finished with my coffee yet because I didn't have the normal morning that I'm used to. Um, and I gotta get this. I'm gonna record this for you guys before I get my day started. Um, because then the day just runs out of control. Jesus, getting phone calls. As Phil will attest to, I mean, I sit there like he sees how my schedule works now, where I'm like, my day just unravels and spins out of control. So I wanted to get this done. So let's do it right off the bat. But yeah, there's certain geopolitical things that are just going on that I think are greater effect that we can understand or realize. Um, so just like I said, this isn't financial advice, but if I were you, I would only buy Bitcoin with money that you're okay with not touching for 4 years, and make sure you have a safety net for yourself in cash, um, however you choose to hold it, uh, and just it's a little dangerous out there, so be careful. Um, and uh, and it's just interesting to me, like I don't know this theory that I'm having where I wonder, this sounds really conspiratorial, um, but like it is crazy that like Bitcoin's not at its all time lows. It's at an all time no. Like, no, it shouldn't be at that price. Um, but the price has dipped so significantly. We're like at like the 70% from all time high fall. And the mining difficulty is at its all time high. So I don't know. I mean, you guys have to hit me up, but I don't think this is how it happened last time. The market corrected in last cycle. I don't think mining difficulty was at an all-time high. Um, so you know, if I were a geopolitical power like, you know, China or whatever, and I wanted to suppress Bitcoin, a great way to do it would be to ban it in my country, move it out, move all the actual corporate miners out or confiscate them and start doing it roguely, which I don't know how much they really can do that, but or start doing it in other places so that you hide where it is and where it's happening and who's behind it. Um, and then if you're one of the powers that be, whether it's a country or, you know, the rich people, whatever, it would make sense to crash the price, which, let's be honest, they can do things to influence the price of things. So crash the price and suppress it for a period of time, which we are in that period of time, simultaneously raising the mining difficulty to an all-time high. Um, because I could tell you right now, I do not think mining is profitable. Um, I'm, you know, just I let my miner run, and you know, I check in to make sure it's not like horrific. Um, but yeah, it's interesting. And as one of you DM'd me and said, keep being kind to your future self, which, you know, means keep buying Bitcoin or mining Bitcoin because you are doing your future self a huge favor, um, by stacking sats any way possible. So you know, it's a little painful right now, but it is what it is. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I think that's my conspiratorial mindset on what is going on in the market, uh, and what's going on with the hash price. Because I think I saw somebody say that like the hash price is down to like 5 cents, meaning your electricity cost has to be 5 cents per kilowatt. And I was like, because it just went up, like it had a 10% difficulty adjustment up, like it got more 10% more difficult. And I was like, oh my God, like my electricity is not 5 cents. So that's why I was saying I just let my miner run, but now I kind of have to look at it and go like, what are we looking at here? How's it? Because I don't want to turn the miner off, but just like if it's a DCA machine, like I've said before, if the miner is running and it's costing me $10 on electricity a day, but it's adding $10 of Bitcoin a day, then I'm okay with that. But if it's $10 of electricity a day and adding, you know, $7 in Bitcoin a day, then I might as well just DCA through other means until the hash price fixes. But I don't know. But then there's something to be said about being just, you know, having your balls on the line and continuing to keep pushing through and fighting the good fight, by literally plugging something into the wall. That's the funny thing, is fighting the good fight and, you know, getting something to go and take off, by just literally plugging it into a wall. So it's a nice way to have something proof of work. It does all that work for you. Um, I will say though, so like all summer, I had it pointed towards the back corner of the basement wall, so that the heat would just dissipate that way, not really affect the AC in the house. Um, I will be getting an upstream data black box, and I'm going to set this up. So I'll explain how I'll set up the black box after talk about how it currently is. But without the black box, now that the weather has turned, um, I just flipped the miner the other way around so that it's blowing the hot air into my from the boiler room into my like workout room. So then it goes into the basement. So like the basement is really, really warm. I don't know the exact temperature. I guess I can figure that out, but um, warm enough that I'm like, oh, like it's a little hot. Um, in the temperature outside in Pittsburgh right now is like 52 degrees, 52 degrees Fahrenheit. Not Celsius. That would be scorching. Um, so 52 degrees Fahrenheit is pretty chilly. You know, this is the fall brisk weather. I see the leaves outside my window falling onto the ground, waiting for me to pick them up because I now have over 200 trees on my property. So yeah, so I have a lot of leaves. But anyways, the brisk weather, it's cold out, and I turned it around the other way, and the basement is super warm. Um, so I'm trying to see how much it offsets my heating bill because we had our thermostat. I turned the miner off for a day, um, because I wanted to, like, like I said, I'm comparing, like, okay, how much electricity is it really using? How much is it costing? Blah blah blah. So I turned it off for a day, and I wanted to check multiple things. One of the things I checked was the temperature. And so in our thermostat, we have it set at 68, uh, and the heater was, working, not a ton, but the heater was working to keep the house at 68 degrees. Um, and I forget how many square feet our house is. I mean, it's not, I'm not saying like, oh, I live in a mansion, but it's not like, I mean, our last house was like a shoebox. Um, so that would have been like, the whole house would have been like 90 degrees with this miner running. Um, but it's a larger house. I don't know, 4,000 square feet. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But I'm just, point is, I'm trying to relate to you guys how much heat this can generate. So anyway, so the house is, the heat pump was working to keep it at 68 degrees, but not a ton. It's not that cold out. And I checked, in the morning, it was 68 degrees and working to keep it at 68. So then the next day, I plugged in the miner, everything like that, opened the doorways in the basement, and, like basically from the boiler, like open the through the doorway into the workout room and open the doorway into the basement, and have the door from the basement to the kitchen, like, or whatever, to the main floor open. And I came down in the morning, and the temperature outside was relatively the same. Um, but the temperature inside our house, our thermostat said it was at 70 degrees. Um, it was at 70 degrees, and the thermostat was still set at 68. So that meant the heater wasn't working, which was great. And like, even my wife said, she was like, I can tell like a big difference. Um, so that's cool. And it'll be interesting to see how much, um, it offsets my heat runs on electricity. So, maybe I'll be paying the same amount I would have paid just to heat the house, but it'll be going into Bitcoin, which is cool, and an advantage that you can get from this. So if any of you that are mining, that might work for you as well. Um, but so that's just with me blowing the hot air, like, into the basement, um, and letting it just dissipate and rise up into the house. Um, Now, what I'm going to do with the black box is I'm going to take the black box, and there's a Crypto Cloaks has the mining pants that, you can then attach like a air duct to, and I'm going to attach the air duct to the, I'm going to cut a hole in the ducting right before the blower, so like underneath where the blower is, and I'm going to just pipe that hot air right in there, because if you haven't had a miner before, haven't been around a miner before, like, it is an impressive amount of heat and air power coming off there. But anyways, the idea would be, I think for the most part, I don't even know if the fans would the blower would actually have to blow too much to get the air circulating, the heat circulating through the house. um but at worst case scenario, I don't think the heater itself would have to kick on. I think just the blower circulating air, kicking on every once in a while, will actually circulate the heat. So I'm really curious to see, because like the upstairs, like the top floor of the house, still, just like a little bit chilly. Um, but like it's always been that way because it's the furthest from the basement. Um, so yeah, I'm just curious to see how that works. Because once that heat is pumping, basically it'll be nice. Like, I have the black box sitting right next to the HVAC system, with the mining pants attached to the exhaust portion. and blowing it straight into the heater. So, the noise will be gone. I mean, I can still hear a little hum right now, but like when the black box is here, I'm sure I won't even be able to hear it at all. And it'll be more efficient use of the heat because while it does heat the house by, rising up from the basement, it'll be more efficient if it's, going through the air vents. So I'm really eager to see how that works. Because I told she was like, is there a way to like shut it off? So that like if it gets too hot, and I was like, I mean, yeah, we could like, I could like just take it off of the attachment and aim it, like if it's gonna be a warm day, I could like aim it at the back wall of the house again, like I did in the summer. But she was like, well, what if it's too hot, like all the time? And I was like, well, we open some windows at Christmas time, I guess. But I don't think it's gonna be that bad. Um, and it really, if your house is gonna be 72 degrees, you can't really complain about that. It will be warm. You won't want to wear like your sweatshirts and hoodies and sweatpants indoors. But yeah, if it's no heating bill and it gets you that hot, I think that'd be pretty great. The other thing I want to do is by the springtime, I definitely want to have chickens. Um, so maybe get another miner just to use that as the space heater for the chickens. Um, and because you got to keep them warm. So, anyways, that is my thoughts on Bitcoin mining and all that kind of stuff. What's going on at Movies Plus? I mean, I've told you guys some of the stuff that's going on at Movies Plus, but we have 100 Halloween movies, 100 or over 100. I mean, I don't know the exact number, and we're pushing those like crazy because it's October and Halloween time. And who doesn't like getting the shart scared out of them? Um, so you know, check that out if you guys like it. We're calling it Fright Fest, or what do we go? What's the other thing we call it? 4 weeks of horror. Um, and every week, every Friday at midnight, so like Thursday night tonight, um, at midnight, we are dropping 8 new Halloween films or horror films, and yeah, get your fill on all that kind of stuff, and enjoy it. Enjoy this Halloween season. Who doesn't love Halloween? I personally love it. Um, probably, probably third favorite holiday. Like I love Christmas, obviously the best. Thanksgiving is phenomenal because you just eat like a pig and then pass out on the couch while watching football. Um, but Halloween, I think it slightly edges out Easter. The thing I love about Easter is just like the like smell of flowers, like not like oh I love flowers. Like I mean I love it's just like the freshness, like life coming back. The nature side of things. It's like life is springing up. So Easter is always a good exciting part, but yeah, I think Halloween edges it out because Halloween's pretty freaking awesome. Um, and me and my wife still dress up in costumes because who doesn't want to dress up like in a costume? We've done a family one every year, but now my kids are getting older. They kind of want to do their own things, and so it is what it is. We'll just wear old costumes, but I probably the two best costumes I've done were we did a Spider-Man one a couple years ago, and my wife we did Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse. So my one son was the Miles Morales Spider-Man from Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse. Uh my second son was Spider Pig or Spider Ham. Um and then my wife was Spider Gwen, and then I got to dress up as Peter B. Parker, Spider Man. If you're familiar with the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But he's like the disheveled, like flabby, like not as in shape Spider Man. And it just so happened that like I had like a all I had to do was buy a pair of gray sweatpants in this obviously a Spider Man, you know, like complete suit. But but I had the pair of uh gray sweatpants because if you he wears like sweatpants, he has like a boot on one shoe and like a Converse All Star on the other foot, and then a green jacket on top of his stuff, and I just happened to have all that stuff, so it was pretty awesome. And I usually don't share pictures out, but maybe I would share that because our faces are covered. Um, but anyway, so that was pretty awesome. And then last year we were Jurassic Park. Um, I was Dr. Grant, and my wife was Dr. Ellie Sattler. And the kids were dinosaurs. But yeah, they get older. They want to do their own thing now. It is what it is. But anyways, yeah, so check out all the Halloween movies. And then also we have Q Sent Me coming up. Q Sent Me is about the Q shaman that was wearing the buffalo horns and red and white and blue face paint that stormed the Capitol. I call him the Tiger King of January 6th. And you guys are gonna want to check this out. It's a three-part series. It is a Movies Plus original, and it is coming out on the Friday after the elections for two reasons. For one, we have had problems in the past with running advertisements for things that have anything remotely political about them. So this one, it's not really a political one. Like I said, it's kind of like Tiger King. Like I think universally on both sides of the aisle, people should enjoy this because it's a pretty interesting character. But yeah, I just have a feeling that if we run ads on the digital platforms leading up to the midterms, which are on Tuesday the 8th of November, if we run ads, then we're gonna get absolutely shut down. They're gonna say you're trying to influence the election by putting out this Buffalo man, um, and I just don't want to deal with that again. And it's not even worth the hassle. And the other thing too is like there's gonna be like there's such a shitstorm that's coming around this political season, like this election. It's just going to be an absolute, complete, and total nightmare. And so trying to get word out during that time is not going to be easy. And anyone that wants to talk about it remotely is going to have a political lean, and they're going to be talking about politics in the election the whole time. So we're going to release it the Friday after the election. So we'll have a little bit of a lead up to it. We'll be able to run some ads, and then it will come out. The next episode will come out in December, and the third one will come out on, you guessed it, January 6th. So yeah, we're just going with that. And I think your guys are gonna really like it. He's an interesting character. And I really wanted to do some guerrilla marketing for it. I think going forward, I'm gonna always have like when we have like a full marketing department, I'm gonna make them in every single one of their meetings. Everybody has to pitch a guerrilla marketing idea. And most of them are not gonna work, but that's fine. So the idea, have you seen? I don't know if you've seen. So there's this movie I think that came out. I don't even know what platform, but it came out. It was called Smile, and they would have these people at like NFL games standing there with this creepy smile, doing nothing but staring at the camera while everyone else is like cheering for the game. And that's like some pretty good viral marketing. I was like, "Ooh, that's good." And then I thought to myself, I was like, "What if we got some people to dress up as the Q shaman with the buffalo horns and the face paint and everything? What if we got them to dress up like him and got them to sit in the first row behind the end zone at NFL games on October 30th, because it'd be Halloween, blah, blah, blah. Like it would get on camera, people would be like, oh my God. And then people would be talking about Q send me. Um, I, but I don't know. Phil brought up a good point. I mean, everybody was kind of like, I don't know. Like that's a lot to coordinate. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull that off. But then Phil Gibson was like, you also like you're like you're in imitating someone that was like part of the insurrection and has been charged with, like I said, I don't even know everything he's been charged with, but he's in prison, all that kind of stuff. So might be, not ideal. But that being said, if any of you plebs are out there and you are an NFL fan and live in an NFL city and uh, want to go to a game dressed as the Q Shaman, hit me up and maybe we can talk about it. So, just throwing that out there. And yeah, that's all I got at the moment. I've been really rambling. Oh, I got one more thing to mention or talk about. But yeah, I want to throw out the Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. Get one from Shift Crypto. Go to shiftcrypto.ch/Bitcoin made simple. Use the promo code Bitcoin made simple to get 5% off and secure your coins. Get your coins off the exchange, secure them, hold them in your own hand, and you'll feel much happier in the very sexy and sleek Bitbox O2 hardware wallet. Um, but I've had a general apathy towards uh Twitter. I think I've always had a little bit of an apathy towards it, but I think, I mean, there's just so much slinging that goes on out there, and my recommendation to everyone is to just keep your focus on the signal. Don't get lost in the the childishness that can take place on there, and just keep your head down, focus on Bitcoin, and keep rolling. But I appreciate you guys supporting the show and supporting Movies Plus. So again, if you want 20% off, use promo code Cory, Cory. And yeah, I will talk to you guys next time. And thanks again to Shift Crypto and the Bitbox O2 hardware wallet as always. And I will talk to you guys next week.